Hello everyone, and welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Jessica Robin. I go by Jess. I'm an illustrator and storyteller living in North Carolina, and I just absolutely love everything whimsical and magical and just cute and fun. So that's where all of the inspiration for my work comes from. In this video, I am working on a series of 3 dragons. I made this series of dragons to accompany this other dragon print. You may know it if you're familiar with my work. It's this one here. Let's see. Yep, there it goes. This one here. This is Bernard. He is a bookworm, and this is probably my favorite thing that I've ever painted in my life. This is like my favorite painting ever, and I'm so happy that everyone else seems to love it just as much as I do, because this is my best-selling print. I literally sell out of these almost every single time I do an event, which is amazing. I'm so happy that you guys love the things that I love to make. So with that being so successful, I wanted to create some more dragons, because there's nothing I love more than painting dragons, especially goofy ones. So in this video, I'm working on a series of 3 dragons. I did work on this back in October. I did not film it very well because I was in a rush to make this series to have them ready to have prints for future events. So I'm sorry if the footage is a little choppy, it's not well lit at some points, and it's also in my old studio that didn't have as much natural light as this one does now. So just bear with me through the quality of the footage. I thought it was time to put it all together into one concise YouTube video and tell you a little bit more about each of the dragons as we go along. So I hope you enjoy the video, and let's get painting. So I thought this one would be super cute. Maybe he's like a feathered dragon and he just really wants to be one with the birds, and so he's kind of like chilling, hanging out on the ground with all these little birds kind of flitting around him. I just thought it would be kind of like a funny little scene. And then I did this one. This one's like a dragon that's like trying to figure out how to knit. It's going okay. They're currently knitting the scarf that's also tied around their neck, and I just thought it would be like a cool scene to do all these messy balls of yarn kind of everywhere, maybe like a half-finished sock down here, and sitting in this like big comfy armchair by like warm candlelight. So I'm pretty excited about like the details in that one. And then this one is a dragon that's trying to garden, and it's not going well. So if you look close, like at the book cover, it's titled Gardening for Dragons Scorch Free, because they keep burning their plants by accident. So I just thought that was kind of funny, so I tried to make like a messy gardening shed kind of setting around them, with like all of these like smoking plants. So that's kind of what I'm working on, and I'm really excited to get started. So next I have to trace everything. Hello again. While you're watching me ink these dragons, I thought I would share a little bit about what's been going on behind the scenes. Recently, I've been promoting and sharing my Substack quite a bit. Well, I've decided to move everything from Substack over to Patreon, and this is for a couple reasons. I've really struggled to use their interface, and it is a very new site. It's just very clunky and very hard to use as a creator. So, I am not a technologically inclined person or technologically savvy by any means. So if it is hard to use, I probably will avoid using it and I will get very frustrated using it. And when I'm sharing content with you guys, I don't want to be frustrated when I'm doing it. I want it to come naturally so that way I feel like I want to do it more. So that's the biggest reason. And then another reason is not a lot of people know what Substack is. And I feel like Patreon is more established. At least I've always known about it. And I think it's a better place for creators and creative people like myself. And I like that it already has an audience of people who want to support creative people. So, with that being said, I am really excited to develop my Patreon community. It will still be under the heading of the Mossy Meadow Chronicles. And right now, I am just offering free content as well as a $5 paid tier. The free content will be all of the stories that were free to read on my Substack, will also be free to read on my Patreon. And the $5 tier includes the illustrated, downloadable versions of those stories. So if you're more of an analog person like me and want to physically hold whatever I'm reading, then you might like my illustrated stories that you can print. So I will be expanding the content that I will be offering on Patreon. I just haven't fully figured out what my plan for that is. And I want to have like a concrete schedule to give you guys so I can hold myself to it and also not promise things that I can't deliver on. So, and one of those things that I really want to offer eventually is a mail club. And this is something that I've wanted to do for a really long time. I just have a lot of ideas for what I want to do, and I need to really organize them and figure out what I'll be offering every month and probably prep a couple months in advance just because my schedule gets kind of busy. But I will have that hopefully by the end of the year. So if you're interested in that or you just like reading my stories and you've enjoyed what I've posted on Substack, go ahead and follow me on Patreon. If you want to become a paid patron, that would be great. I would really appreciate it. Happy to have you. But for now, you can also read a lot for free. So, with that, I will also be moving my newsletter from Substack to my own Squarespace, which is something I should have done from the beginning. I just was, I liked that Substack had everything centralized and they had a newsletter function. And that's something I really liked because it was all in one spot. But I didn't like that people felt like they had to create a Substack account in order to read my newsletter. So I don't like that. I just want something that you can read in your inbox, no problem. So that is why I'll be moving it to Squarespace. So if you want to subscribe to my newsletter, go ahead and you'll receive like updates for like shop updates, class offerings, anything new on my Patreon, and all those kinds of things. So that's enough of the admin upkeep, I guess. And now let's get back to the dragons. give you a little bit of a synopsis of each of these dragons' stories. So, this first one, this is Ignatius, and he is a very sniffly, sneezy dragon because he suffers from seasonal allergies, like many of us do. Pollen is his worst enemy, and he goes on a journey to figure out how he can possibly make his allergies go away or at least subside a little bit. Because when dragons sneeze, they tend to explode, or their sneezes are quite explosive. So he wants to fix this, and he goes on a journey to try and figure out how to do this and ends up taking up gardening as a form of exposure therapy. So, if you want to read more about his story, head over to my Patreon. And I'm really proud of this story. I think it's quite funny, and it's probably one of my favorites out of the three. This next dragon is named Nut, and she is a knitting dragon. Originally, I was naming this dragon after the Scandinavian word for knot, but a follower or a viewer on one of my shorts so kindly corrected me and told me that it would be pronounced canute, and it has more of like male connotations and doesn't literally mean not. It's a word for like strength, I believe is what she said or what they said. And so that's my bad, but I still like Nut as a name for a dragon. I think it's kind of cute. So Nut is a very cold-natured dragon. Her fingers and toes are always going numb, and one winter day she just decides that she's had enough of being cold and she wants to be warm. And so she decides to take matters into her own hands and learn how to knit. And so she is the first dragon to ever knit, and she is also the first dragon to ever wear clothes because she just can't produce warmth like the other dragons can. So she goes on this journey to figure out how to knit and teach herself how to do so. And it's just kind of like a heartwarming story. And that is also available on my Patreon. this last dragon is probably my favorite dragon out of the three. His name is Peregrine, or Perry for short. I probably recorded the least amount of his process, but he is probably my favorite dragon, and his story is also my favorite. Um, Perry is a little different from other dragons because he grows feathers, and that doesn't necessarily get him any like negative attention from other dragons, but he's always felt out of place and he feels more at home among the birds. And so the one problem with that is he can't communicate with birds and he desperately wants to be able to talk to all of his little friends. So the birds kind of gather and come together and decide to grant him a magical gift. So this story is kind of meant to sound more like a fable or like a piece of folklore. And I'm really proud of how it came out. And I actually illustrated the story as well. And that is my first paid offering on my Patreon. So if you really love this dragon and are interested in his story, you may consider purchasing his illustrated story. If not, you can read the story for free on my Patreon as well. But I'm super proud of it and I love how it came out, and I hope you guys like it too. Thank you guys so much for watching the video if you made it this far. If you liked these dragons or want to read their stories, head to the links in the description below. And I also have prints available of all of these dragons in my Etsy shop. So thank you guys for watching. Give me a like and maybe subscribe if you want to see more. But I hope you have a great rest of your day.